Perfect. We're going to go ahead and get started. So the first thing you want to do, just so you know, you should have a toolbar that looks just like this with TopStep now with your data feed. Now, this toolbar with CTS, I'm going to go ahead and close all the way out of this just so you can see it. But if you click on here and go to Simulator, come here and type in your password. And load. And I'm going to start out just by closing everything down except our taskbar. So when you have your taskbar up, the very first thing you want to do is if you see it across here, you just want to click on this and then go to where first thing we're going to do is we're just going to select chart and we're going to focus on crude. So if you type in CL, you just double click that, it pulls up some basic settings. Now I'm going to change all of this. So I'm going to show you how to change all of your settings. Now across the top, you'll see it has the contract. Make sure that the active is selected right there. And then you can select candles, which is what we use, but this is just the drop-down menu, the candle. And then here's our time frame. You can see 1 minute, 5 minute, different time frames. We're going to keep it on 5 minute for now. The very first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and just delete this. If you right click on here, you can see where it says remove PMA. So we're going to clean that chart up. Now, from a psychological level, I do not like red down candles because red meaning stop, automatically just visually, it will actually induce no action. Now, again, when it's automated trading, it doesn't make a difference, but this is going to be more for manual trading. So how to change that is you right click, go to properties, expand this window out. So across the top, you want to be able to see there are going to be 3 tabs up here. You're going to have crude oil, account, and general. If you click the general, what the general tab is going to do is this will select and change the background. If you're in front of a screen a lot, you don't want to have a white background because it can hurt your eyes. So I recommend just a slightly different color gray. So you guys can see that like that. That's a good gray. And then you can change the grid. So sometimes some people like to have they like to have a little bit darker of a grid. So it gives them kind of a little bit of contrast so they can see just basic price levels. So we're going to set our chart up just like that. Now, if you don't want grid on there, all you have to do is just select the grid color to be the exact same as your chart background. But I like to just have a general sense for different price levels. Okay, so we're going to set it like that. Now, the next thing you do, if you go to accounts, this will have order fills on chart. So if you want to see where it has the little check marks, you can select those as well. And then under the crude setting, for your crude chart, you can select the rising color and falling color. Now, for me, I prefer purple. Now, why? Because visually, it's enough of a contrast. Again, I spend about 10 hours a day in front of a chart, so that just gives me a general sense. I can change the thickness of these candles. Obviously, the thicker, the less you can read them. But some people like to have a 2 thickness, just so visually it's a little bit easier to see. It all depends on you. We're just going to keep it at 1 for now. If you scroll down lower, it just has different settings you can have, and you can kind of mess with it or play with it. Let's say that this is the chart settings that we like. You come back to general and you click save as default. So every time you open a chart, it will save this as your default as far as your charting goes. Now, I'm going to add a few more things, and then I'm going to resave it as default. So if you come over here to studies, we're going to add a couple of things. One of the things you'll notice we use Bollinger Bands. Now, against this chart background, it's not very easy to see. So if you want to come over here and you want to go to properties, again, you can come over here and you can change the colors, you can change the thickness, completely manageable. Now, I'm going to add multiple things here before I do that. Now, in the room, and I'm not going to give away too many secrets here, but this is what we use is these PMAs, these pivot moving averages in the room there. And if you go to properties and come out here and expand, you can see how it's now added 3 things. Now, both of these PMAs are the exact same price, and I'm going to alter them. So the very first one, the very bottom one, I'm going to change that to a 5. And then I want to change the color because we don't want to have two blues. on the settings. So that's a pretty standard setting, just like that. So let's change the thickness of these, and we're going to go to 2. We're going to change the thickness on this one, and we're going to go to 2. So this could be a general setting that we could use as it relates to that. We're going to keep our Bollinger Bands just the same. If you wanted to change it, you can come here and you can change the color. So let's say we do a dark blue just so that's easier to see. Now let's say I like these settings. Again, right click, properties, drag this all the way out to where I can see. And if you just click on this and then you just push your mouse over to the left, it'll actually let you do it. You go to save default, that automatically clicks save default. Now anytime I pull up a chart, this is now going to pull up just like this. And if I go add another chart, so I'm going to go ahead and do that just so you guys can see it. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to add another chart now. Let's say I do S&P. So I type in ES, I select that. It's going to load my chart and it's going to pull up the exact same chart that I just set up, just like that. Okay. Now we're just going to focus on crude. Again, at this bar, another one that you're going to want to have available is going to be your account board. It's just going to have all your account information, what trades you've taken, you know, all of that stuff, just your current P&L. Now, once I've done that, and then the other one we're going to open, if you come here and you go to contract, this is going to be the trade ladder. And again, type in PL. This is the trade ladder here for crude, just like that. And we're going to do some, I'm going to show you how to use this in just a second. Now, as it relates to setting up your charts, what we look for, and I'm going to do 2 basic charts. We're going to have a 5-minute chart and a 1-minute chart. And I'm going to show you how I like to set up my charts for manually trading. Basically make your 5-minute chart half your page. And then you set up your 1-minute chart. As the other half your page. Just like that. That's going to be a real basic indication of how we like to have our chart set up. Now, you'll notice how this chart is a little bit larger than this chart. And the reason is because I'm not really going to trade on this chart. I'm just going to look at what the overall potential trends are. And you can see we're at a pretty good pullback. We've got a downtrend here, and we've got a basic retracement here in price. So now what we'll do is we'll pull up our trade grid for crude. And then we're going to open this up, basically the full slide of the side there. So that is a generalized setting. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go back to here just to make sure that, okay. Glendrick, you're going to get set up today on your, with all of this. So you're not going to have this, and I'm just shooting this video so you can see it. So I got to slow down a little bit because I'm moving pretty quick. So again, let's start all the way out. Everything you're going to need is going to be on this gray bar right here, this T4 simulator bar. And then from there, everything is on the drop-down menu from there. It's going to have your chart, it's going to have your contracts. And those are pretty much the 2 things you're going to focus on outside of your account board. Okay? So in setting up our charts, what you want to do is you want to have, and you guys are going to learn more about this in the manual, you want to have your 2 basic chart settings you want to have up are your primary chart on the left and your trigger chart on the right. Those are going to be our two chart settings. And then when you manually trade, you're going to be trading off of your trade ladder. And this is going to show us our P&L, and we're going to explain how to set all this stuff up. Okay? So this is a generalized way of how we would actually look to set up a trade with that. Now, let me expand this out a little bit so you guys can understand what the trade ladder is. Now, the trade ladder up here is going to be the number of contracts. So right now we have this selected as 1 contract. Okay, again, make sure it says April 15th. Now, right below that, you've got some buttons. Now, what these buttons are, and AOCO, what this does is this now creates an environment where my limit of profit is going to be 5 cents and my stop is going to be 5 cents. And we're going to change that because that's too tight. So we're going to do 20 cents and 20 cents. Now, we can adjust these on our chart once we're in a trade. We're going to do that just in a little bit. But this would give us an idea of how we can make some adjustments. Now, what this is the blue side is the current bid of the market, and the red side is the current offer of the market. So if you want to buy, you buy the offer value, but you want to select it on the blue side. And this right here, this is the current price. So it's currently trading at $49.10 right now. Now, if I scroll down, you'll see right here where it says $48.85. That's the low of the day right there. $48.85 was the low of the day. And then if I scroll up, and you can see how that's kind of in a red color there in the writing. And then when I scroll up, that right there is the open price, and 40.36 is the high. So you can see right now where we're trading, this yellow line, that is the opening value. So we're 91 cents below where we opened yesterday. The high of the day has been 50.36, and the low, like we saw, has been that 43 or 48 and some change, 48.85. On this side here, these are all the contracts that have traded at these particular values. Now, what you'll notice is you can see up here where there's more contracts. So this is where this thing has been trading on average, has been in this range. So you can see we're down below some of that range right now. So again, these are current prices, and these are what you're seeing on the chart. So that whatever this yellow number is going to be what's indicated on your chart at 49.03. Now, we're going to go ahead and take a trade. Again, we're just going through an example. So let's say I wanted to buy. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to select on this side. I'm going to select right there. We're in a trade. And then what it does is it creates a bracket order on our screen. So as you can see now, this is our bracket that I have an OCO that if it goes below here, it gets me out. And if it goes above here, it gets me out. That's our bracket trade. Okay. Now let's say I wanted to adjust that. Let's say I don't think it's going to go that high. What you do is you come up here and you can see this is our current entry price was $49.03. It's currently trading $49.03, $49.02. So let's say I wanted to. What you do is you left click this and drag it down. So let's say we think this is only going to get to $49.12. So I take this and I come down and I select that to $49.12 and it changes my value. Now that's a left click and hold. You got to drag that. Another way that you'll know if you're in a position is right here. It'll say net one, which means you bought one. If you were wanting it to go down, it would say -1 and it would be in red. Okay? That's the way we would adjust that. Now, let's say, you know what, I don't like this trade. I think we're gonna lose money here. I don't want to risk all of this. What you do is you just come right to this button here where it has the little balance right here, and you just click it, and it automatically takes you out of the trade, and that's where you see the little arrow there. We're down $60. Now, again, I'm just showing you guys how to use the ladder. We're not talking about when to get in and when to get out, any of those particular trades at this point. But I'm just trying to show you how to use the ladder. We're going to short. So let's say I think the market's going to go down. So what I do is I come over here on this side of the chart. If I just want to buy, I select here. Now I'm short. And again, the same thing occurs. Here's my order, and here's my order. Okay, and you can see current price. I'm in at $48.95, and we've got yellow. See how it says a -1 here? And so this is my total P&L for all of my trades. This is my current P&L for this trade. So let's say we want to adjust my stop. So I don't want to risk. You know, let's say we think, okay, if it comes back above $49.02, we think it's going to go higher. So what I want to do is I want to drag this down to $49.02. There we go. I've got my stop in place. And this is our low here. So let's say, you know what, if it goes to $48.85, I want out of the trade. There you go. So now what I've done is I've basically bracketed, and I'm going to go ahead and expand this out so you guys can see it here. So there's our current trade with our risk profile. So we got in right there. We're thinking that this thing is going to drop to right here. If it comes to there, it's automatically going to take us out and we're going to make a profit. If it doesn't, it comes all the way up to here, then we're going to take a loss. But this is how we can bracket our trades, okay, for winners and losers. It's just like that. Now, if I come back to my trade grid and we look at this, wow, we've made 50 bucks or 60 bucks on this trade. Again, if I just want to flatten, all I have to do is click this button here and it'll automatically flatten. Let's say we don't want to risk any capital, right? We want to bring our stop to break even. So what we would do is we would just bring this down to right there. Now I can't lose on that trade. Now I have a guaranteed break even on there. So let's say we think it's going to go lower. Let's say we think it's okay. We think it's going to take out this stop. So we can start trailing this down as the market goes lower. So let's say we want to look at a 5-minute chart and you say, okay, well, we think it's going to actually go lower than that low. You can, because again, we have no risk in this trade anymore. Worst case scenario, we break even on it. And if you want to resize your chart, if you just come over here to this little button, you can click on that and that will resize your chart. So if we're like, well, how far could this fall possibly? Where could it go to? So we see where we are now. We're right there. So maybe we want to zoom out and look at other time frames to say, okay, well, how far could this go? All you have to do is zoom by changing your time frame, and you can see, wow, it could come back down into these levels here. We just got stopped out. We just broke even on that trade. You can see it automatically took us out. But you may see, oh, well, that's a low. That could be our trade there. So let's go back to our 1 minute. And you can see we got short right there, and it got us out right there. Okay, so you can see we broke even on that position. And it'll reference the, see this here. We can see that referenced on our crude scale. See, now we've done 2 trades. We're still down our 60 bucks is the way we look at that. Now, let's say I want to put an order out there that says, okay, if it breaks below this low, I want to be short. So what you can do is you can select, let me see where it is real quick. Select right here on T with an OCO, and then you can come right to the trade grid, sorry. And you can say, okay, if it breaks above those highs of 49.94, I think it's going to go higher. If it goes above 49.96, I think it's going to go up. You can click that, and what that does now with this T selected is it's automatically going to get us in if we think it's going to go up there. Well, let's say we think it's going to break this low here. Well, it just adjusted it. Let's go ahead and cancel. If you want to cancel your order, you just click cancel and it cancels it. So let's say we think, okay, if it breaks above 48.96, it's going to go higher. So there's our resting order above there. Well, if it also breaks this 48.83, we think it's going to go lower. So now what I've done is I've just bracketed it. And whichever order gets filled, if it breaks below there, it's going to take us short. And if it breaks above there, it's going to take us long. Okay, so now we are short because it went below that low. So then what we're able to do is I'm just going to clear this trade off, and that's our bracket order. And then I can adjust my stop now saying, okay, well, my current 48.96 is my current high. I want to bring this down to 48.86.96. There you go. So now, if this continues to keep going down, it's going to keep, we're going to make money, and then my take profit is down here. And again, we're just showing you how to do different order types. I'm not looking to be profitable on this. I'm just trying to give you guys a good sense or reference of how to put different order types out there. And again, this is under S. If you want a pending order out there relative to a specific price, you just select the S button. Okay. And then I'm going to show you once this pushes lower, I'm going to bring my stop down to basically help minimize my overall risk. So you may look at the chart. Let's go ahead and we're going to change this to a 5-minute, or excuse me, we're going to put our 5-minute next to it. So here's our 5-minute chart. And we're short, thinking this is going lower. And I can see on my trade grid here, we're currently at break even. We're down 20 bucks on the trade. Which we can identify. There's my stop. My take profit is down here. So if this really starts to impulse lower, again, here's the low of the day right now. It's 48.81. So this market's starting to get some momentum to the downside. Let's see if it's going to continue to push lower here. So 48.80 is the low of the day. There it goes. So we had a big momentum push. Now I want to adjust my stop to break even. So now what I do is I just left click and drag. I bring it down to break even. Now I can't lose on that trade. Just going to break even. If I just want to get flat, all I do is I select that and I get flat, and I just, you know, I was down 60 bucks. Now I'm up 70. I made 70 on that trade. I just made, you know, now I've got a profit of 10 cents or $10. So you can see just in a short period of time, this is why we like crude, because it's a mover. But if you're wrong, you can get pretty beat up. But this is a very easy way that you can just come in and learn how to manually trade. So again, just in review, we're going to go ahead and select all the way back to our normal trade grid. L is the number of contracts. If I want to increase the number of contracts, I just type in the number there. So let's say we do 2. Okay. And then let's say I want to buy, but I want to buy with a bracket order. So I go to Auto OCO right here, and it automatically puts 20 and 20 in the box. Okay. And then from there, what I want to do is I want to have a stop order that says I want it, if it goes up to a certain level, I want to get in. If it goes down below a certain level, I want to be, you know, I want to get in. Now, let's say I want to buy, but I want to buy below the current price. So what I do is, let's say I want to buy it at 48.63. Oh, we got to select off buy stop. So what I do is I just come down here and click and say, okay, if the market comes down here, it's going to buy me in. Okay, well, it's not coming there. What I have to do is I have to exit off of that and get out. And that will take the trade off. So let's say we think, you know what, this market's going up. This is a good trade. We just buy it. Now we're in. Now we've got our bracket order, but now we've done 2 contracts. So what that means is every single time this thing ticks up or ticks down, we're losing $20 a trade rather than 10. So you can see now, see right here, watch, it'll be -20 or +20. -20, see that? Because each penny, we make $10 per contract. Okay? So let's say we think, you know what, I don't want this. If this goes below that 48.73, I don't want to be in this anymore. So we're going to bring our stop just below that low, 48.73 or 48.70, well, 48.71 now. So right there. So that says, okay, if this goes below there, we don't want to play anymore. So you can see 80 bucks, 100 bucks. You can see how fast this thing moves. Very, very quick. There you go. We just got stopped out. We lost 80 bucks right there. But that's how you can adjust it, and it takes the trade off for you. Okay? And again, I'm just showing you guys how to use the ladder. I can adjust this to 5. Let's say we do 5, just to show you guys how fast this thing moves. Let's zoom in here. So this is our current candle. We think this is going to go up. This thing just keeps selling off, though. I guess I could short it, but keeps pushing the lows of the day. Again, I just want to show you how much this thing moves and how fast. Let's say I want to put an order out there that if this breaks above 48.72, I think this is going to go higher. So what I would do is I would click the T, 48.72. Oops, automatically got me in. What did I click wrong? Click something wrong. Huh. Overall, you can see there's one cent, and I was up 50 bucks. You see how fast this thing just extremely volatile. It gives me my little error right there for entry. See that I'm down $300 right there in that one little trade. Again, this is all demo. This isn't a combine, so it doesn't make any difference. You can see my purchase was right here at this candle. And this is kind of just, you know, at this point, this thing's just free for all, just falling like crazy. So normally you'd want to be short, obviously, with looking at these trends. But see how fast it moves, though? Down 400. But it goes both directions. This could very easily snap up and be back above here very, very quickly, as you guys can see there. Now I'm down 200. Very, very quick moving market. So let's just kind of play it by ear. So let's say I want to bring my stop up and said, okay, if this thing breaks below that 54 price, I don't want to play anymore. That's my stop. And it's going to break it. So we just want to see if we can get a little bit of a bounce. There it goes. Just took it out. So you can see how 5 lots wide, you can see how you're down 600, and it's only that far from 48 to 64, 52 to 64. It's not that big of a move. You can see where guys like Chris are making. There you go. We're down 900 for the day, right? But just like that quick. So you can see the difference between 5 contracts. That's why it's not necessary to trade 5 contracts with this whole process. There's no need to do it. So again, that's how you trade the ladder, just using the ladder. Again, our focus was not to make money on these trades, was just to show you the function and how to change the contract size over here on the side. So we're going to go ahead and get to questions. You may need to get a newer update on the T4. The question is, why don't I have a get flat button on my ladder? You may need to update your software. Some of the older versions don't have that. How much margin do you need per contract? It depends on the instrument. You need more for crude than you do like the S&P. So that's a great question. So again, remember we got in right here. Now it's coming all the way back up. We got out right there. So if we would have stayed in, we could be, you know, instead of being down, we would almost be up on that trade. But that's the whole idea behind trading, right? Just timing your trades effectively, finding the best entries. So one of the things we look for, like right here, if this closes above this red moving average, this could be a possible trigger for us as far as a trade. So with how much this is sloping down, though, that's pretty aggressive. So could be a little bit of a bounce there. See what other questions we have. The more volatile something is, the more can you elaborate? Okay, hold on one second. So we had a question on the advanced order types. So let me get back to that real quickly. Advanced order types on your trade ladder are these buttons here. So if you select AOCO, and then you can change the dollar amounts of what you want to select in your OCO orders. This is going to show you the different limits and different stop values that you can change just by selecting the arrows. Okay. If you want to select a price of where you want to buy or sell, all you have to do is select S, and that'll say, okay, if the market comes up to there, I want to buy at that point. Is how you select that. Now, if you want to cancel it, you just hit that button there, and it just automatically takes it off the chart. And that's the S button. Okay. So really the only ones you're ever going to use outside of, if you want to buy below the current price, all you have to do is select down here, and it'll buy below the current price. Once this comes right to there, it'll get you in a trade. But if you want it where it buys above the price, you have to select the T button. Oops. You have to select the T button, or excuse me, the S button, to buy above the value, which would be up here. Okay, so that's the way you would have that trade set up, just like that. I hit the wrong button, that's why it got me in and got me out real quick. Let's go back to questions. So the idea with the margins, we had a question on, can you elaborate more on why the margin? The big thing you've got to understand about trading crude or futures or any of that stuff, what you have to realize is that currently you're basically buying the right to buy crude, a barrel of crude oil, and that right is costing you about $2,000, $2,500. But it's a derivative of an actual physical barrel of oil. At third Friday in April, if you wanted a barrel of crude, you could go to and you wanted to have your, and let's say crude's trading at $50 a barrel. Well, you have a price at $48.59 where you could buy your barrel of oil and then you could sell to the market at 50 and you would make the difference in the profit. So what they do is they use margin to tie up that on a much smaller scale is really what's going on. Okay. So what that scale looks like is it's a percentage of the cost of a value of oil. If you wanted to buy a barrel of oil right now for crude, it would cost you $48,650 for one barrel. So all you're doing is you're putting up about $2,500 against that $49,000. So that's the margin, the $2,500 for the trade is basically how it works. Okay, it's not necessary to really know that. Just know that when you're getting in and getting out, whatever the difference between your entry price and where it's worth is what your profit is. You can. You don't need to. So the difference between options and futures is one is an obligation and a right, and the other one is like the right to buy, and one's an obligation. If you hold till expiration, prior to expiration, there is no obligation on either contract. So to update your T4, Joy had a question on it, where to update the T4. Wish I'd have held that trade. That was a good trade. If it would have been 5 lots right there to there, that would be $1,000. Do that a couple times and you're past your test. So if you go to CTS Futures, so we're just going to go to their website here. And I'm just going to walk you guys around their website for just a second. Just let it load here. If you come down here to simulator download and you can select that, it'll make sure that you're running the newest download. If your software doesn't have specific buttons, if you come up here to training videos, go ahead and click on that. You could go to the how-to button for this. We're just using how-to desktop or how-to T4 charts. If you want to use that one, you can click on that as well. And they've got a YouTube channel. You can go and it'll just click on that. So if you go to how-to desktop or the how-to T4 desktop, give it just 1 second here. Over here on the left column, or here on the side, it'll talk about the different order types. Contract windows, this is what we just covered here. Order book, account board, quote board, toolbar, activating orders, queued orders, auto OCOs. They have a pretty expansive library of all the different videos that they have there. So if you go back to T4 charts and select T4 charts, how to trade from chart, there's some stuff there on how to do that. Again, some of these videos, they're a little bit overkill. I believe this video here is, I'm not sure how long it is, but some of the videos are like 2 hours long. So that's why a lot of times we just do the kind of shorter versions for people that they can know what's better for them, what they need to know. So, all right, any more questions? We're going to go ahead and wrap up the training. So if you have questions, type them in the box real quick, and then we'll make sure that this is available for you very, very quickly. Yes, you do. The question is, if you hold your contract till expiration, yes, you have to take physical delivery of crude oil if you hold through expiration. But all of our trades have to be closed by 1:15 Pacific time, 1:10 to be exact. At 1:10, all of our trades have to be closed out for the day. We won't trade that contract that day. So we're actually, on some of our March contracts, we're going to be looking to roll here in the next couple days. So, all right, guys, live trading room is going to be back open in here in just a minute. So if you want to hop back out of the live trading room and then be on our Squawk Radio feature with Zillow, you can do that. So have a great rest of your day.